So we are getting reports, as Jenna just mentioned, of new looting as the city of Baltimore tries to restore order. Take a look at the city now. The governor declaring a state of emergency, and National Guard troops are patrolling the city of Baltimore. We're waiting for a news conference by the governor to address the violence that erupted here after the funeral of Freddie Gray yesterday. We're joined right now by Kweisi Mfume, former Maryland congressman and former president of the NAACP. Mr. Mfume, I know you are on the ground there trying to do what you can to help keep the peace. What is the most effective thing you can do, or you are doing right now?
Well, what's been most effective for me and hundreds of other men was to go into the communities yesterday, to get back out there again today. I'll be leaving here to go back again to kind of talk sense to young people who are very, very angry, and to implore parents to make sure that they get a hold of and know where their young people are. This is a situation where burning and looting and loss of property is absolutely wrong. These young people have to understand, and some of the older ones, what you do is what you pay for. And we're just not going to sit back and idly watch this. So I think for me, the most effective thing has been in the street and on the street corners. And I think for our city, the most effective thing is to have a conversation with the community, not to go into deep silence or anything else. There's got to be dialogue here, and reason has got to outweigh the rioting.
I think your approach of starting with the parents, and in some cases even the grandparents, is certainly a good one. I mean, if you can keep some of those young people, cut the numbers in half, cut the numbers by a third, if you can keep some of those young men off the streets and keep them inside with somebody helping them calm down, it's going to stem a lot of the violence, isn't it?
John, it will, and it has always stemmed violence. But, you know, there have got to be men willing to go do this. And there have got to be parents who recognize that their role is not off to the side. You've got to be actively involved. Now, what is the cause of all this? It's more than Freddie Gray. I mean, it's 5 decades of dire poverty, of deprivation, degradation, denial, disprivilege. In many instances, people look at a structurally incorrect police department that has perpetrated acts against them. And so all of this is boiling over. The issue here, though, is for containment. We've got to contain this. We've got to do it in our communities. We've got to have conversations with the communities. The police department ought to speed up the investigation. And some of the agitators that have come in and are on their way in, we send a clear message to them. We don't need you here. We've got this, and we will find a way to control it.
I know that you spoke yesterday with Freddie Gray's family, and now their son's death is being lost in this mayhem and terror that's being unleashed on the streets of Baltimore. What did they tell you?
Well, they cried a lot. They said this is what Freddie would have never wanted. And that was the message that they kept repeating, his sisters, his mom, his dad. And it's clear that it's not, but it's taken all the emphasis off of that murder and that investigation. And because you've got a couple of people who have decided to use this to further whatever agenda they have, it's created the situation where the real reporting on this is more on what's happening in the streets with the rioting and less on what's happening with the investigation. So that is why I've said to people over and over again, Monday morning quarterbacks always have a perfect touchdown record. But to be here and to be on the ground, common sense has to prevail, and that says we have to take back our communities. We are responsible at this particular moment in time. The men who are here in Baltimore and the others who recognize that if they don't do it, it's going to escalate and become something else. We don't want this spilling outside of the city, and we don't want it occurring in other cities.
Kweisi Mfume, a former Maryland congressman, former head of the NAACP. I know you have a very well-respected voice there. It's good of you to share some of your time with us today, and we'll let you get back out into the community and try to help calm things down. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.